you don't know what you want to do unless you start doing it.
Exactly.
And like, there's always this fear of like, oh, what if I can't do it? Or like, oh, maybe that's not the field for me.
Yeah.
If you want to do it, give it a shot.
Exactly.
My name is Nik Nagarkar and you are locked into Culture TV. For the culture, by the culture. Let's go.
Sushmita, thank you so much for coming down today.
No, thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited for this.
Good.
So really appreciate it. Thank you.
It's a pleasure. How are you?
I'm good. Very well. Yes.
So, congratulations on the Mrs. India win.
Thank you so much.
I've never heard of it, Mrs. India, before. So Mrs. India is basically Miss India, but if you're married.
Yes.
Right. Okay. So I'm guessing that you're married then.
Yes, I am.
And so where was that?
So it was in India, in Delhi.
Yeah.
So there was a big pageant for Mrs. India. So this pageant we represent in Mrs. Universe contest. So it's like a preliminary round for that pageant.
Yeah.
We also had the Mrs. Asia during the same time. So
so you're both, aren't you?
Yeah. So I won Mrs. India. Win. Yes.
Nice.
Yay.
And when was that?
It was last month.
So that was in what, August?
August, yes.
And so when did you get back to the UK?
3 weeks ago, actually, just after it finished. It was been quite a busy schedule because I had to rush back, left my little daughter here.
So you live here?
Yes, I live in Prestbury here.
Okay.
Yeah.
But you are originally, where in India are you from originally?
So I was born in a small town called Dibrugarh in Assam, where I spent most of my life.
Whereabouts is that?
It's in Assam, it's in the northeast of India.
Yeah.
I moved to Delhi when I was 18, where I did my college and I spent 4 or 5 years there.
Yeah.
I did my BSc in biotechnology there. I started working in the same field. Didn't like it.
Yeah.
Then
biotechnology?
Yes. I just thought the field was not for me, even though I enjoyed studying my degree. Then randomly I came across and I started working for real estate and construction, which I thoroughly enjoyed.
Yeah.
I stayed and started working, learning through work experience. It was amazing.
Still in Delhi still?
Still in Delhi. Then I was on a holiday in the Middle East to visit my sister and brother-in-law. They were in Middle East, posted there for a few years. Where I met my now husband. And I moved there when I was 22.
Yeah.
And I lived there, worked, lived there for almost 10 years.
Right.
And 2 years ago, I moved back to the UK.
Wow. So just 2 years you've been here?
Yes.
Then? It's changed so much in India, hasn't it, over the past?
It has, definitely.
My dad's Indian. So
nice.
So I've been going there since I was 7, 8 years old.
So do you know India well then?
Pretty well, yeah. I've been lots of times,
Oh,
I mean,
nice.
Not as well as you, but like, I've been enough times to say I've got a good grasp of the country. I can't speak Hindi.
Okay.
I can understand it, but I can understand it to a degree.
Okay, interesting. Yeah.
But no, I can't speak it. Well, if I can, I would never say it because I say it with a Manc accent and it just sounds stupid. Or I have to put on a fake Indian accent. Yeah. Which I feel equally fraudulent doing. So it's like, I'll just say it in a Manc accent, but then it sounds crazy.
I totally get it.
and then when I mean like, because my family are from Bombay.
Okay, nice.
So when I do that, people just reply to me in English. Like, what are you trying to do?
See, that's the thing though. Like the official language in India is English, and a lot of people don't know this. And I'm like, well, yes, Hindi or all of the state, they have their languages, but they're like, oh really? So do you speak English all the time? It's like, yeah, it's our official language. Everything is in English.
It's crazy, isn't it?
Yes.
Because in Bombay they speak Marathi.
Yes.
Which is quite different to Hindi. Yes. And a lot of my family, they all speak Marathi. But I started but picking up bits of Hindi and Urdu, because a lot of my friends are from Pakistani backgrounds over here. Urdu and Hindi very similar.
Yes.
So you can kind of, I can't even tell the difference, to be honest, between them two languages. But Marathi, wow.
Yes.
It's completely different.
See, that's the thing. So I'm originally a Bengali from Calcutta in West Bengal, but I was born in a state in Assam where they spoke another language. So
what language do they speak there?
They speak in Assamese.
Right.
So
what's that like?
It's similar to Bengali. So I can speak Bengali, I can speak Assamese, and I can speak Hindi. So very fluently. So it's weird when I go back, you kind of swing in that accent, the way you speak, it kicks in. Like you don't do that when you're here. So it's very interesting. All of the languages in India, they're so diverse.
How similar is Bengali to like Hindi and Urdu?
It's very different.
Very different.
It's very different.
Different, like Tamil different.
I mean, there are words, probably there are more similarities between few words in between those languages, but the way you say it, the pitch, the accent, the words that come out there, they're different,
It's crazy, isn't it? 'Cause I mean, India is a big place.
Yes.
But if you look at America, for example, everyone just speaks English. Or Australia.
Yes.
Even though it's obviously a lot less populated, but India is smaller than both of those places, but you've got such diversity in like state to state. Like in, you say like Maharashtra borders Gujarat, right?
Yes.
Gujarati and Marathi, they're two, it's like French and German.
Exactly. That's what I tell a lot of my friends, like when I meet them or who don't understand India as well as you even, I would say. They don't understand. It's like going to a different state in India it's very close to going to a different country, like you just said. It's like they look different, they eat different. It's
the
literally
food's different, everything.
Everything is different. The way they speak, we don't understand. So the common language is either English or Hindi.
So
that's what keeps you together. But it's great growing up in India. That's definitely, I would say.
It's changed. Like when I first went there, it felt a lot poorer than. That was like early 90s.
Okay.
When I first went. And it felt like there wasn't, for example, I went a few years ago and I was out in bars, nice rooftop bars in Bombay, like I was here, like I was on holiday.
Yeah.
But when
it's different now,
it's different. There's a middle class, and there never used to be a middle class.
Yeah.
From what I mean, I was a kid, but even when I went when I was like 18 or whatever, there was still none of that I could visibly see. But this time it was like, I like it. It sounds bad to say, but it was always a bit of a chore to have to go because I'd just go there, sleeping on the floor at my auntie's house.
Oh, wow, yes.
Do you know what I mean? It was like 10 of us in a room.
Different experience,
It's like 3 weeks.
That's a long time.
Yeah, it's a long time. You can't speak the language. It's a long time. But the last few times that I've been, I've really enjoyed it. I've really enjoyed it. And even like culturally, it's changed so much. Like the hip hop scene over there is blown up massively.
Yes.
And like the whole gully gang thing, I think that's incredible what those guys are doing.
Yes.
But yeah, no, it's really interesting to see. And I think if you look where India is going to be in 20, 30 years, I think...
yes, I agree. It's really definitely progressing at a very faster rate than a lot of the other parts of the world. So yeah, hope for a brighter future.
Do you think you'd ever move back?
No, our life is here now. My husband is from the UK, so
has he been there?
Yeah, he's been a couple of times. He was a shock to his system when he first arrived. I think the main thing was the driving. Because the Delhi was very similar to Mumbai driving, so he couldn't believe it. He was cringing every time, we were in the car. He was like, oh my God, the car is too close. But then we lived in the Middle East for a long time. And the driving there is not as nice as here, but still not as crazy as India. So we have a balance of all the worlds now.
So you've gone from studying biotechnology to becoming Mrs. India, should I say? And it's it would appear to be quite a big polar opposite jump from someone who started out with the intention of doing biotechnology, it's a science, to becoming in this area that you're in now, which is like running charities and sort of being an ambassador for the country, I suppose. Would that be accurate, would you say?
Yeah, so more of a continent now, I would say.
Yeah, of a continent, of a continent.
Yes.
It's a big continent as well.
Yes, Asia is big. It has been. the main thing about being in this pageant is the realization that you don't have to be the most beautiful girl set there to be in a pageant. Its beauty is from the inside, and it holds true value when you go to platforms like this, because it's the confidence in you that you build up. You know, I've been in this pageant. I can't tell you how much I've developed myself as a person just being and getting trained in this pageant. Like meeting all these wonderful women and their stories and what people have actually been through to get to where they are. It just, you learn, you come out as a different person whether you win or not. So for me, it's been such a great exposure in terms of different areas of my life that I couldn't believe some of the even stories that I've heard, for example. So it's quite interesting. It makes you a stronger person, realizing and appreciating life, you know, that, like I said, you don't have to be the most beautiful. You just have to be you to be in a pageant like this.
Do you think it's helped? Like, I know that you are doing quite a lot of campaigning at the moment. I know that you are campaigning around Baby Loss Awareness Week. That's in October, right?
Yes, it's from the 9th and 15th of October.
And do you think the success that you've had within pageants like that has empowered you to be able to speak out on subjects like this?
It definitely has. There are a few topics that, first of all, one of the main topics that we have covered during this pageant, and which I'll be also doing over the next year, promoting it actively, is domestic violence. I'm working towards it, and I think a platform like this, you know, to vocalize yourself through a platform like this, empowering women, talking about different ideas and things, you know, putting it out there. I think there is no other platform than this, because, you know, you're representing something. You know, there are more people hearing you. And I think it's a great platform. It has been so far for me, and I want to continue doing this.
So talk to me about Baby Loss Awareness Week.
So obviously I'll tell you why it has been a very important and touchy subject for me.
Because it's a big subject, and it's a horrific subject, really, isn't it? It's something that's very difficult for families to deal with. What drew you to wanting to campaign around this subject?
So we lost our son 6 years ago when he was only 2 months old.
Sorry to hear that.
It's okay. When he passed away, I didn't think that, or maybe I was in that situation, I didn't think I had more people to reach out who has been in situations like this, or who could tell me that there is something after this. Because, you know, when something like this happens, like, you know, your world crashes, you know, you know, we go through losses all the time in our lives, but seeing my son die was a life-changing experience for me, in terms of, I just thought my world has finished. And the fact that...
when was that? 6?
It was 6 years ago.
So I know you've got a daughter now who's 4.
Who's 4.
So this was your first child?
That was our first child. So my daughter Valentina. So my son was called Ethan. When he passed away, I think I would have coped better, I would have grieved better if I had that support system, which a lot of the women across the world don't have it. So when given this opportunity to, you know, make people aware, become a support system for someone who is potentially going through what I'm going through, if I could help even that one person through this, that would just make so much difference to me. I'll get pleasure telling them that, you know, there is a light at the end of the tunnel. You know, it's not that you don't think about that loss, it's how the life after that. How did you deal
with that grief?
It was hard. A little bit I'll tell you. It's not, I tell often people this. I found out that I was a rainbow baby. A rainbow baby is a baby born after a loss. It's called a rainbow baby. So I didn't know that my mother had lost a child till I was about 10. So I have come from a culture where you don't talk about that child. You know, it's like, it's happened, you move on. You know, there's a miscarriage. Oh, okay, you don't, you know, they think like you more talk about it. But how I dealt with my grief was like, no, you have to talk about it. It has happened. It's been the event that has changed your life. So that's one of the things that I have struggled. Even though, you know, I've had a very supporting family, But talking about a baby loss has been awkward from some family members of my side, which I wish that there was another organization where I could have spoken to people who've experienced the same thing. Just telling them that it's not okay. It's absolutely not okay. You lost the most precious thing in your life. But you've got this. I've survived it. It's made me stronger. It's made me who I am today. If I can do it, being at my rock bottom, you can.
How did he pass?
He was unwell when he was born. Long story short, he had a small UTI. He was, a newborn. He had sepsis, and basically we couldn't do much about. So it was a shock to the system, to everyone. And it was a lot to take in, because you have the whole house prepared for a newborn baby, and
did he ever actually come home from the hospital?
Yes, he did. Yeah, we had a lovely Christmas, and he passed just the day before New Year's Day.
Oh, wow.
6 years ago. Yeah.
It's difficult, isn't it?
Yes. But what I want to say is, look where I'm coming from. Like, I couldn't even talk about it.
How do you come back from? If anything happened to my daughter, I mean, God, the thought of it, just saying now, I can feel my eyes welling up, just even thinking about it. I mean, I just can't even fathom how I would ever get over that.
You don't get over it. Sorry, you never get over it. That's the thing. You learn how to live with it. And sorry.
Don't be silly.
And that's what I want people to know. You don't have to get over it. You have to learn to live with it. You have to understand that.
So I'm getting a tissue.
You have this life which you build around your loss. They're not forgotten. And also, like, a lot of the people I've met that have said, like, you'll have to not talk about it, or that's probably the best way to get over it. But no, there is no getting over it. This is your life. You have to build a life. It's a part of you, and you have to talk about it, baby, because you don't want people to forget. And that's one of the things that actually helped me, making him a part of my life, making him not forgotten. So if I could help anyone, I mean, people grieve differently, different people grieve differently, and trust me, I've tried everything. But the best thing is, you'll have to put yourself up. You'll have to know that, you're not alone. You have a support system who'll be there with you. There'll be days you can't get out of bed. But
I think
it's
just
okay.
the fact that
It's
the fact that you are sat here on a platform like this as Mrs. India in Asia, to be able to, because I can only imagine what dark place you've come from. I can't even empathize with it, because it must be beyond my capability of understanding what you've probably been through with this. And for you to come that full circle, to be back here and to be able to be as brave as this, to sit here and discuss this subject like that, I think is only going to empower more women to know that if you can 360 this whole thing like this, then other people can too.
Yes, that's what I mean. I mean, I was born in a very modest family, a very normal middle class family in India. I'm very proud of what I've achieved. I've worked through the years. I'm a self-taught businesswoman. I'm a self-taught forex and cryptocurrency trader.
Oh, are you?
Yes.
We'll talk about that.
Yes. Oh, I'll never stop. You'll go for quite a lot of hours talking about that. So, and also I self-teach myself a lot of things. It's not just what I've experienced in life, or I have worked for everything I wanted to achieve in my life. Nothing has been given on a plate to me. And I want women out there to know that you can do it. You can do it. Like, you don't need a rich dad or a rich husband or a push. You can do it from scratch. If I could do it, going through so much in my life and not giving up, you can too.
What's crazy is that we, as human beings, we're a lot stronger than we realize, aren't we?
Yes, absolutely.
We're able to deal with a lot more than we actually know
that we're capable of. Yes, absolutely. Unless you're thrown down in the gutter, you don't know that you can climb back up. Absolutely.
Have you heard of David Goggins?
No.
I keep going on about this guy. So David Goggins, he is, he's a former American Navy SEAL turned like hardcore athlete. So his story, basically, in a few sentences, is he was extremely overweight. He was working like he was like a pest control person, killing cockroaches and rats. Wow. Really like not a fun job, basically. Yeah. And he was extremely overweight. He was obese, and he had an epiphany that he wanted to become a Navy SEAL.
Wow.
So he then rang up all these like Navy SEAL training camps, and they all said, no, not a chance. You're way overweight. It's never going to happen. Not a chance. And then one guy said to him, well, we're doing the induction in 100 days, but you're like 5 stone overweight.
Okay.
But if you lose the 5 stone, we'll give you a chance. He lost the 5 stone in 100 days.
Wow.
In 100 days. And then from there, he just went on to do more and more incredible things. So like, he did that, he got into the Navy SEALs. He then went on to do this thing called ultra running, so basically what he did is he turned up to a race not knowing what it was, not ever training for it, knowing that he had to run for 24 hours, 100 miles. And he just turned up and ran 100 miles for 24 hours.
Wow.
With no training.
Very impressive.
He's kind of mastered the art of knowing how far you can push yourself as a human being, and knowing that we are capable of so much more than we think we are.
Absolutely.
And when you're at the point of most pain, you're only halfway there, and there's actually another 50% in the tank that you've not quite tapped into. And I think emotionally it is quite obviously the same, because if for someone like yourself who's been through such a tragedy can bounce back from that to this position that you're in now, I think it's kind of similar in a sense.
Yes.
But from an emotional sort of strength perspective.
Yes.
He's coming from an athletic perspective.
Yes.
But it all comes from here essentially, doesn't it?
Exactly. It's all there.
Yeah.
And I personally feel this coming from personal experience.
Yeah.
I've always been like a go-getter.
Yeah.
Even as a child. It could be anything. Like, first, I would say like education. Yeah. I didn't need the education to do the job I was doing.
Yeah.
I later on went, after 2 years working into the field, I then did my master's from Northumbria.
Yeah.
And then had my education when I thought, I did very old school way at the beginning, but did the total
like
opposite
school,
after that.
College, university, and then get a job.
Yeah, and then... that's the whole mentality, right? So I did my uni and then got the job, and I hated it. That's what I want to tell even the young youth now. You don't know what you want to do unless you start doing it.
Exactly.
And like, there's always this fear of like, oh, what if I can't do it? Or like, oh, maybe that's not the field for me.
Yeah.
If you want to do it, give it a shot.
Exactly.
Maybe you'll be the best in the field. You never know.
We had yesterday, we're filming another show. So we had a guy called Andrew Hamland on the show. He's the senior director of learning at Discovery, and we were having the same conversation, and we were talking about the role of education in like how important is it to the outcome of someone's life. And I'll be honest with you, I've got no GCSEs. Well, I've got 2. I've got no degree. I've got nothing. I'm the least qualified person in this room compared to all of these lot, but yeah, I'm the boss. So it just goes to show that education, yes, it's important. I think if you want to be a lawyer or you want to be a scientist or a doctor, then you need to go to university. Like, you can't be learning that on YouTube. But I think in an area of business or anything else, I think it's just about drive, motivation, ambition, and looking at a destination, charging at it relentlessly until you get there.
Yeah. And
I think that is what we should be pushing more of in schools. And
especially for the, like, you can see it's quite sad to see like how, the old school way, like we discussed, people do it. All they do is end up getting into student loan, paying it for the next couple of years.
Especially here.
And it's not required.
Is it the same in India?
Well, getting a student loan is not as common, but what happens, the culture difference in India, what happens is your parents pay for everything.
Yeah.
And
how expensive is university there?
Well, they're getting expensive every day, I would say.
Is it comparable?
It is very comparable if you go to the top unis.
To UK, right, okay.
Yes. And we have got few of the best universities. And the education system is quite strict and very good. But you just getting forced into, like, you know, being the sheep in the field. Like, you know, you have to be the engineer, the doctor, or the lawyer, and you're getting forced into not even liking that subject. And then some people like me, like, again, I think I've been very fortunate. I remember not liking the job and going to my dad, who's actually paid for all his education, a lot of money. I was like, I don't like the job, and I thought my dad is gonna go mental.
So did you start working in biotech?
Yeah, so I started working as a lab technician. That was my first job.
And as a what?
A lab technician.
Oh, a lab technician.
Yes.
Right, okay.
And I didn't like it. I mean, I knew my personality. I was like, I knew where the future of that job role was, and I was like, enjoyed. It was very interesting.
Were you looking down at your future self and thinking, God, this is hell?
No, I'm like, I was a people's person. I like to talk. I like to get deals done. I know you can see I'm a salesperson, so I need to be there. I need to be selling something, like, you know. I'm sure, I mean, sales is in every aspect of business in any sector you go, but at that point of time in my life, I didn't think that field was for me. Yeah. And that's why I changed, and even when I moved to them. What did he say? He was shocked at first, but I was very young as well. I was only 20 at that time, and he was like, okay, if you want to try something else.
So he was cool about it?
He was very cool about it. He was always been a very strict dad, so I was quite surprised, and I can't thank him enough. Because if I got pressured and carried on, I don't think I would have done as well as I'm doing now if it was not for him giving me that green light. I
started in music, and I said to my dad, this is what I want to do.
Yes.
And he was like, what are you talking about, music? And he said, give it a year. So go on and give it a year, see if you can make it work. And luckily I did. But he was, I mean, my dad's he's had 3 English wives. He's pretty liberal. Do you know what I mean? There's only so much, like, tradition he can enforce on me. Yeah. Looking at how he's lived. Do you know what I mean?
Bless him.
But it's strange though, because my family over there, they are quite traditional. A lot of my cousins have followed that very traditional route. Yes. And their mindset is very much ingrained in that. But a lot of them have moved out of India. My cousin, he came here, and then he's gone back now just recently. My other 2 cousins have gone to America, and I think it's because of the competition. There's so much competition for jobs in India. The population's massive, isn't it? And everyone's trying to get to university. Everyone's following that path.
Everybody has the same degrees. Yeah. It's very repetitive,
It's hard to stand out from the crowd.
Absolutely, I agree.
Yeah, it's a big crowd.
It is, yeah.
So you're also campaigning on domestic violence?
Yes, that's something which I've started doing with Mrs. India journey, and one of the main topics that we'll be covering in Mrs. Universe would also be about domestic violence. So basically raising awareness, one of the main aspects that I spoke about, especially in India, given the culture. You know, when we speak about domestic violence, we automatically think about the physical aspect, like, you know, hitting the physical abuse part. One of the main concentrations that I did was the mental abuse bit, which doesn't even exist in India. Yeah, well, it's not valid. Spoken, it's not a valid abuse. It's like, oh, did he beat you? Yeah. Oh, he didn't. So it can't be that bad of a husband.
Nothing happened. Yeah.
It can't be that bad of a husband. Yeah. But the impact that's having on women and also the future generation, like the kids growing up, seeing not just physical abuse, also the mental abuse that they go through on a daily basis. It's heartbreaking, like, you know, and the laws and the systems that is in place is very different what it is in India than the Western world. You can't just go and file a divorce unless you are, you know, physically abused or you have a valid reason. You can't go to the court of law in India and say, oh, my husband is mentally abusing me, I want a divorce. They'll be like, there's no law.
Really?
Yes, there isn't.
So you can't just get divorced in India?
You can, but there are different rules. There are different ways. Like it's
not like
very
here,
different
where
from
here
the Western world.
If you just want to get a divorce, you can do.
No, you can't. There has to be a proper
hearing on it.
Yes.
There's not a website.
It's not
like
as easy. It's not as easy, especially for women.
Right.
And a woman who is also not from a very influential family, things like that. So it's a lot of factors that comes in.
Yeah.
So these are the things that I've learned. Just being in that 1 week thing. You know, we had really good speakers. We had a lot of influential people coming in, telling us about all these things. So it's been very interesting.
Yeah.
So the campaign that I intend to carry on, not just along with my woman empowerment and baby loss, is not just for this year that I'll be doing and wearing the crown. But something I always want to do and I want to carry on. It's only made me realize how difficult some women's life is there and just everywhere in the world. So just being another helping hand, raising awareness that there is help out there. You could change your life if you want. There are people who want to help you. Just giving them the confidence to get out of their shell.
What commitments as Mrs. India do you actually? Is there any things that you specifically have to do after you've won that? Is there like a calendar of commitments that you actually have to do no matter what?
Not as such, but there are obviously a lot of things like the domestic violence aspect that we work on, which is an ongoing thing which goes on. There's no like hard and fast rule, but that's the whole point. Like if you're given that opportunity of raising your voice with a platform like this, why would you not? There are millions of women hearing you and looking up to you, like you are Mrs. Asia, you're Mrs. India, what are you going to do about it? So you become a role model.
Do you find that there is a pressure attached to it because of the title?
I don't think it's a pressure because I'm quite enjoying it. I always wanted to be an advocate of the things that I'm working towards right now. So I feel quite honored. I feel to be in a more better situation than I was there because I feel like I'm more of a role model. I'm more of being able to get my voice out there. There'll be more people listening to me, and I think it's a win-win situation.
And do you then have to go in for Mrs. Universe?
Yes, which is in November in
Korea.
Oh, really?
Yes. In where?
In Korea.
Wow.
Yes, it's in Seoul.
So what happens then? What do you do when you get there? Like how does it work?
So like it's like any other pageants. So you get like a lot of trainings. You meet a lot of wonderful people. There will be more than 120 contestants going from different countries. There's a lot of things we'll be doing for domestic violence. A lot of raising awareness. It's more to do. It's more than beauty in a pageant when it comes to Mrs.
What are the other contestants like?
Well, I've not met them yet, but I'm sure they're all very amazing.
What are the Mrs. India ones like?
They're quite nice. I'm very impressed.
Well, you're not telling the truth.
No, they were all very nice. It's the stories, the background that they come from, which impressed me quite a lot because not all of the women there have had an easy life.
Oh, really?
Yes. I mean, especially, that's what I mean. Like, you meet people, you don't understand that what they've been through or what they're going through at the moment. So it's quite interesting. Like, you could see a successful, quite wealthy, women there, sat there and talking about her experience of domestic violence. You'd be shocked. You'll think like, oh, she's got an easy life. But that's what I mean. Like, to be there, to talk to different strangers who become your friends and like understanding their backgrounds and everything, it's been an opener for me.
Really?
Yeah.
Not even a little bit competitive?
To be honest, I think it was a competition, so there has to be a bit competitive, but when I was there, I mean, I saw it more as an opportunity. Winning was amazing.
The bonus,
Yes.
Did you expect to win?
Not really. I mean, there were some very good candidates there, and but I think I evolved myself there. I mean, I always had like, oh my God, will I have a stage fright? I'll be like being asked a question in front of so many jury members and everything. So, but I did well. I gained the confidence over the training I had over there. And
had you done much public speaking before that?
Not much, but I've done a lot of influencing work.
Right.
So I've been to not exactly the kind of public speaking that I'm doing at the moment.
Yeah.
But I had very little exposure.
Yeah.
But I'm developing every day.
Yeah.
I think. So,
Oh, amazing.
Yeah.
So, what's next for you after this stage? Then you're going to do Mrs. Universe. Then what?
Well, it's a lot of things that has come to me with this pageant and the journey.
Yeah.
I'm working few exciting things with.
Yeah.
I'm not going away from the pageant world. I'm working on something exciting,
Yeah.
which will be announced in a couple of weeks.
Okay.
To carry on in this.
Will it be announced by the time that we launch this show? This is out in the middle of October, isn't it?
Probably after this.
After this?
Yes.
Okay.
So-
We'll have to get you back then.
Yeah.
for that.
So, and obviously the platform that it has given me to raise the various issues that
Yeah.
I would like to bring forward and empower and encourage other women. So this is something I want to continue for a long time, and
Well, I think you've done. I think your journey is incredible, Mum. I really respect what you've done,
Thank you.
and I wish you all the best with Mrs. Universe
Thank
in
you.
November. Thank you very much.
Thank you.